associate degree programs that can help you land a good job and improve your quality of life.
I like Harcum and Debbie because I can continue my education.
The teachers are great. The atmosphere is great.
It's all possible through iLead and Harcum.
Call now or check out our Facebook page at Harcum College at Deliverance Evangelistic Church.
Everybody, David Evans here. Thank you for tuning in to our brand new hit show that everybody's talking about. The preacher, the Freedom Channel, Prisons Freedom Channel. And everybody watching right now, I want to thank you for your time. It's been a beautiful, beautiful day in Washington, D.C., and I'm honored to have you on today on our brand new show. Everybody's talking about the hit show that's popping across America right now. Now, I want all of our guests, again, from France, Brazil, Colombia, Mexico, Panama, Paris, Peru, Argentina, Egypt, Canada, Ireland, West Africa, United Kingdom, Australia. Teresa's there, Germany. Dennis is there, United States. Everybody watching. Through Roku, we have interpreters in these countries, even as we speak now. So I want to thank Roku for allowing us to be on this platform. And thank you again for those who are watching. You can also click and play www.thepictvnetwork.com and get us on your phone right now. Get on that phone, scan that QR code, take us with you wherever you got to go. Go ahead and do that right now. My name is David Evans. Let's get into it. I'm going to get ready to turn it over to Brother O, who I love so much. This brother is doing it big. We're going to go up and close and personal with his special guest today. Now, again, those who are watching the Prison Freedom TV show. This is a show that we're airing, episode number 7. We're airing, and Brother O has been on building this Prison Freedom TV show. And I thank God that he is my right-hand man. He co-hosts with me, and we do a lot of things together to build these shows and programs to bring you the best when it comes to people's story who've been in the system, out of the system, and doing productive things. Brother O, how you doing, man?
Oh, I'm doing well. How you doing, Dr. Evans?
Man, I'm doing good, man. You know, those 1 o'clock in the morning, 2 o'clock in the morning talks we do is paying off, bro.
Yeah, definitely.
You got a special guest on today, man. I'm going to let you take over and moderate and do your thing, man. I want to thank you again for being the face of the Prison Freedom Channel, man, and having so many guests on from Benny and everybody else having on, and brothers who's been serving and doing productive things in the community, man, and sisters who've been on. I want to thank you, man. Those who first time watching this show, don't touch that dial. You're going to be blessed. You're going to be encouraged. You're going to be motivated. You're going to be inspired. All right. Take it away, Brother O.
All right. Thank you, Dr. Evans. It's my pleasure. So tonight we have a special guest, Mr. Lamont Carey. And my name is Orion Meadow. I am live from the headquarters of NAFI, which is the National Alliance for the Empowerment of the Formerly Incarcerated. And so, Lamont Carey, our special guest today, is a critically acclaimed motivational speaker, prison reentry expert, spoken word artist, author, entrepreneur, and advocate for changing lives. He uses his life experiences as a delinquent youth, formerly incarcerated prisoner, and an artist to inspire individuals in his community. He is the founder and president of Carey Enterprises, LLC, and Contact Visits. Through these, he assists artists, prisoners, returning citizens, and disengaged and at-risk youth to pursue their dreams. Mr. Carey has made appearances on The Wire, Def Poetry Jam, and Lyrics Cafe. He's also received awards such as Poet of the Year, Congressional and Senate Awards, and the 2012 Visionary Award from the Black Caucus of State Legislators. So, I introduce to the audience the wonderful Mr. Lamont Carey. How you doing today, sir?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm well. Yo, it's definitely a pleasure to have you. So, I want to start with your background. Like, where are you from, for those who don't know, and what was your upbringing like?
Well, I guess the best way to sum it up is I was born in Washington, D.C., and I was raised in prison. So when you talk about what my upbringing was like, I grew up in poverty. Of course, I didn't know at the time, but I learned quickly. I grew up in a single-parent home where my father was engaged but not fully engaged. So that was how I grew up, in the streets of Washington. Well, later on in the streets of Washington, D.C., but always in Washington, D.C.
So you ended up being in prison, as you talked about. How did that happen? What happened in your life that actually resulted in you being incarcerated?
Man, so when I stayed back in kindergarten, I don't know how you stay back in kindergarten, but I stayed back in kindergarten. I stayed back in first grade. And I know a lot of it had to do with like fighting. But what led me to prison is that my father used to beat up my mother. And I never wanted to be perceived as being weak. And so the only way not to be perceived as being weak was to show that I'll fight at the drop of a dime. And my father, because he used to beat my mother, he was he was the person that I wanted to kill when I got older. And by the time I was 10, he died, right? He died in a car accident fighting. And so, but before he died, because I seen how the relationship was with him and my mother, I felt that I could take care of myself better than she could, because I couldn't understand of this dude abusing you and you'll let him back in and out of your bedroom. And so when he died, I got in the streets. I mean, I learned how to sell crack just by playing outside. And I knew that, or I assumed that I wouldn't have a real chance at a future, because my educational situation and my family financial inability to pay for college. If I went to school, graduated from high school, I wasn't going to college. So it just seemed like a dead end. And the other thing is that I didn't want to be the junkies and the alcoholics in my community. And the drug dealers were the one I seen like having a different option. And so when I was old enough or felt that I couldn't be stopped, I got in the drug trade. Drug trade always leads to you having to get a pistol to protect your supply and your income. Started using a pistol. And at the age of 16, I was charged as an adult.
Okay. So you were charged as an adult at the age of 16. And your experience in prison, could you tell us what that was like? going to prison at such a young age?
Well, first I was in the juvenile block, in one institution. So when I got charged as an adult, I had beefs in DC and Maryland, like serious crimes. I was facing multiple life sentences in each one of those states. And so being a juvenile, juveniles have a tendency, when in the juvenile block, because we young, we face in prison. I think all of us was trying to prove that we can handle it in prison, because we said we can handle it in prison when we was in the streets, right? Because we knew it was the pathway. And so
Right.
initially in the juvenile block, I did a lot. Did a lot of fighting, trying to prove that I can be aggressive, that I can be violent. And so, but when after I got my time and I went to the penitentiary, I realized, because they sent me to a max, I realized that I'm not the only one that killed, right? I'm not the only one that hurt. But on that prison ride, I'm sitting next to a guy that's just as scared as I am. This is both of our first time going to prison. And all we can remember was the movies we saw. I'm short, I'm skinny, I'm a teenager. So I was terrified. And we made a pact on this bus ride that if either one of us have a problem, we both was going to deal with it. So when I hit the compound and got onto a tier, and I seen that these dudes look regular, so that minimized some of the fear, but the fear still existed. I knew I had to be willing to fight, so I had to pretend to be tough, right? And so that's how prison was. But then because I was so young and I didn't have a GED, they forced me to go to school. And so I got in the school program and got the GED. And so that's how the beginning of the prison sentence was, trying to prove that I'm capable of killing if need
Right.
be.
Okay. And so you go into prison and feeling compelled to uphold a particular image, right? For reputation's sake,
Right.
and for self-preservation. Was there a particular moment when you realized that you had to change your life? You had some type of paradigm shift where you felt like that wasn't necessary for you, to exist?
Yeah, so that was several, right? The first one was when I passed and got the GED. Right, I was in special ed. I stayed back 2 times in elementary school, and they put me in special ed. So getting a high school diploma, a GED, wasn't something I think I was capable of. And then I actually scored one of the highest scoring in my class, right? And so that told me that I was smarter than they said I was, and that I was smarter than I thought I was. And then I took it upon myself to roll in the college program. And then I'm taking business management, and they talking about supply, demand, distribution. I'm like, I know that. I learned that in the streets as a drug dealer. And so my slogan became, keep your hustle, but change your product. And so that began part of the transformation. But the other thing was, it was 2 other things. One, I remember waking up in the cell with a cell buddy and his feet was hanging off of the bed. And I wanted to destroy him, right? But I was like, man, you just got to figure out how to get out of here. You just got to figure out how to get out of here as fast as you can. And so I used to come out of my cell, because prison is one of the most artistic places that you will ever be. And there used to be some dudes that used to be rapping. And just out of boredom, I used to try to rap, right? And one day a dude told me I couldn't rap, but I tell some great stories. And he challenged me to write a book. And I wrote my first book called Capers. He loved it. His cell buddy wanted to read it. And so then people around the compound wanted to read it. So I kept writing. And so those were the the things that make me transition. Then the last thing was I went to God and I was like, Slim, if you help me out of this, I promise you I'll change. And so I started changing.
Okay, so I saw something where you had said that poetry saved your life. Could
Yep.
you elaborate on that?
Poetry saved my life after prison, not in
Okay.
prison. So when I came home, with a short version, I started the nonprofit and I met a guy at an event. He wanted to meet with me. And so I went to meet with him to talk about my nonprofit and how he could help me get my nonprofit off the ground. And unbeknownst to me, he ran a theater group. And I ended up in the theater group. And one of the members of the theater group was a poet, spoken word artist that hosted a venue. And he invited me to the venue. And I was making fun of the poets. And when he went on the mic, he said the next poet to the mic is Lamont Carey.
Oh,
So
wow.
I went up there because I was doing theater. I just improv something and they clapped. They loved it. And so I came back another time, made up something else. They loved it. And then somebody asked me, did I have a CD? And so I went to the studio and freestyled my whole CD. And then I started hitting open mics. And then within months, I got a call from Russell Simmons to appear on Def Poetry Jam. And so after that aired, I started traveling around the country and abroad doing poetry. And when I was in school, poetry was for suckers, right? That's what we used to say. But
Right.
poetry ended up saving my life.
Okay. Thank you for that. Thank you for that. Now, you've, if I'm correct, you've published or written 14 books.
So interesting. So I wrote 14 books in prison, but I have 7 books published now. And only one of those books is one of the books that I wrote in prison. And that book is called The Heal. When I released that book, people wanted a part 2. There was originally no part 2 to this book when I wrote it in prison. So then I wrote a part 2 called The Wall. Then they wanted another book. And so I wrote the 3rd installment of that series called The Transition. But in total, I wrote I published 7 books in a journal since being released.
Okay. Now, going back to something that you had said before, because you talked about your struggles with literacy at a young age. I saw on, I believe it was Def Poetry Jam, where you were performing I Can't Read. So, and you know, you've given me this information about your life, but because I was going to ask you, was that something that came from your own personal experience? I can't read. I mean, obviously, you had problems with literacy while you were younger, but were you just did that just come from your own experience, or were you talking in general?
So, brother, I don't know if you've ever heard, right? But poets don't never tell you if the poem is based off a true story, brother. That takes away to the connection that people have with the work. So I'd rather leave that a mystery, brother.
All right. Okay, fair enough. So what was your experience like being on such a prominent stage as Def Poetry Jam?
I had never heard of Def Poetry Jam. I had been performing at open mics and for little events, like in that short span. Because when Def Poetry Jam called me, I didn't automatically go on. It still was some months before I went on. So I had got accustomed to performing in front of audiences. So some of the famous poets that was on the show, I didn't even know who they were. Just so happened one of my favorite artists was on the show that I was on, but not when it was released. So DMX is one of my favorite artists, right?
Right.
And so when he got there, him and Jill Scott did the taping the same day as I did. And so when I went out, when Mos Def introduced me, I went out into the audience and I'm like, whoo, all of these people. But I immediately go into character because I done been in front of large. So it wasn't foreign to me, but it was surreal in a way. And so I just did my 2 pieces. They loved I Cant Read, standing ovation for the piece called I Have Nothing. And then when I went backstage, DMX was like, yo, dog, yo, that's hot. I have nothing. He was singing a hook to my piece, and he asked me, he said, yo, you sang? Maybe we could hook up and do something together. So, and then after that, we went to a party with Jill Scott. So it was normal, it was natural, but it was also surreal. So it was a new experience. It was a new experience. Yeah.
Okay. So what we're gonna do now is we're gonna go to commercial break, and then we'll come back with Mr. Lamont Carey. He's done some phenomenal things in his life, met some wonderful people, and so we're gonna go to commercial break, and we'll come back and we'll continue with this interview that we're having with Mr. Lamont.
Happy holiday season, everyone. It's Maya here, and I'd like to send a big congratulations to David Evans and the PIC TV network for showing up with 60 positive channels on a Roku. Everyone watching and listening, let's help David and PIC TV continue to grow by clicking and playing. www.thepictvnetwork.com. Check it out. PIC TV is the place to be. Once again, happy holidays from Maya.
Yo, what's up? This bruh man from the Field Flow. Yo, check it out. I want everybody to check out my main man, David Evans, and the PIC TV network. It's all that. Check it out. PIC TV got like about 60 free channels on Roku. PIC TV gonna soon be celebrating 1 million viewers. And y'all welcome to party with us, because we be checking it out and it's all free. 60 free channels. You ain't got to worry about that cable. So y'all check them out on www.thepictvnetwork.com and check it out. I might invite y'all over to the Fifth Floor and have a whole lot of serb sandwiches with you. So it's PIC TV on Roku. I got Roku. I got PIC TV. It's all that. Peace.
Hey. It's Kid from Kid and Play. Hey, everybody. This is your man, the KID. And this is big. I want everyone to download the PIC TV, PIC, Pick TV Network on your Roku search bar. Okay? My brother David Evans is growing Pick TV fans, and I want us to help my brother reach millions of followers. Millions. Click and play www.thepicktvinetwork.com. That's www.thepicktvinetwork.com. Come on now. Expand your mind. Expand your life. Huh? Pick TV Network. KID. Come on. Let your mind have a house party. Let go. Think about it. Think about it. You better think about it. Check the PickTVNetwork.com. Enjoy yourself. I'll see you at the top.
Yeah, I'm so happy to be back on again. I want to thank my special main man today, my co-host today, Brother O, doing a wonderful job, man, bringing in Lamar from D.C., my city, my town. My man is right over here today. Oh, you can bring him back in, man. Let him do his thing, man. It's all on you, bro.
All right. Once again, it's Orion Meadows live from the NAFI headquarters, which is a National Alliance for the Empowerment of the Formerly Incarcerated. And today we have spoken word artist, entrepreneur. He's doing so many things, Mr. Lamont Carey. And so we've been talking about his experience as a poet, especially on Def Poetry Jam. And so I'd like for you to go ahead and demonstrate, give us a piece, something that you have in mind that you want to recite. You can't hear me?
Back. We're gonna bring him back in, Lamont, in a few minutes to come back. He's gonna go out and come back in, folks. This is a special presentation, the Prison Freedom Channel. We're excited for all of you who are watching today's show. And I'm telling you, this is an amazing blessing because, Brother O, you got Lamont coming back. He's gonna go out and come back in. He's gonna go out and he's gonna come back in. And we're excited for all of you who are watching the show, watching the program. It is an amazing blessing to be able to come on and have the Prison Freedom Channel with so many people who are telling their stories from all over the world, to inspire, to educate, to inform. When I think about what you're doing, man, Brother O, it's amazing, man. And Lamont is going to go out and come back in. And he's going to reset. He's going to reset and come back. So what I want you to do, Brother O, you have had so many people to come on this show, man. It's literally going to a whole different level, man. You had brothers come on from Chicago, now Washington, D.C. You had some women to come on. This show, man, is so dear to you. And I want to thank, again, Lamont, you back with us, bro? Yeah.
All right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
DC, man. See, you over by Andrews Air Force Base, man. You never know what's popping over there, man. Secret Service, President may be popping in and out. You going on. So I was just saying how proud I am of Brother O doing the show, man, and helping me to co-host, to take this thing, Prison Freedom Channel, because I got 60 channels that we do. When I created this show, I didn't know he would be the man that would take this thing to the next level. I'm so proud of you, O. And let him do his poem, man.
All right, thank you. Yeah, so before we had our little difficulties, I wanted you to go ahead and recite a piece for the audience, people who've never had a chance to actually hear your work.
All right, so I'm gonna give them a piece of a piece, right?
Okay.
Just give them a taste. See, today is my first day back on the streets. And I got a secret to tell because this was a rude awakening for me. See all them nights that I sat up on that bunk and dreamed about this day. Now reality and hope just don't look the same. So instantly I'm drained. See, this is the first time in my life that I've ever felt the shame. See, I have to go live back at my mama's house, including her. Everybody in there, they want me out. See, they say I'm just another mouth to feed, and there isn't no place in there for me to sleep. And then the streets started to whisper to me, Lamont, come back. You ain't gotta live like that. The streets ain't changed. You still know this game. See, the streets keep calling me by my first name. And the other day, I'm going to see my parole officer. And she's telling me that I got to do A, B, and C, or she gonna guarantee me they gonna take me back off the streets. And all I want to do is say, Miss, just help me. But it seemed that she got her guards up like I'm here to make her job rough, so I keep my mouth closed and I promise myself that I'm going to do as I'm told. But then the streets started to whisper to me, Lamont, come back. You ain't got to live like that. The streets ain't changed. You still know this game. See, the streets keep calling me by my first name. So if you want to hear the rest of that, you're going to have to go to iTunes or something and download that. But it's called The Streets Keep Calling Me. And I know a lot of us hears that voice telling us things ain't going right the way that we want it. So come on back to the life that we know. Come on back to addiction. Come on back to bad relationships. Come on back to failure. Come on back, right? But all of us are built different. All of us are built, we are more powerful and have more ability to overcome those voices that want to keep us stagnated, want to keep us in a cycle of recidivism, in a cycle of depression, in a cycle of defeat. We are bigger than any obstacle that we will ever face. And so when the streets or whatever it is that be calling your name, just know that you always will have the power to overcome it.
Yes, sir. Definitely, definitely. So Kendrick Lamar, and I just found this out. That was something I found out like yesterday. But I didn't know it. But Kendrick Lamar sampled one of your poems. Could you tell us about that?
Yeah, so he sampled one of my poems, probably one of my most popular poems. It's called She Says She Loves Me. And it's a guy's perspective on being in an abusive relationship where he is the abuser. And so, of course, when this happened, this was before Kendrick Lamar was Kendrick Lamar, but I do know this was one of the tracks that kind of opened the door for Kendrick Lamar to be who he is now. Because a lot of people saying this was the favorite track on the whole album. So it's been a great ride for me.
That's big. That's big. So you also have credits as a thespian, right? Here on The Wire.
Yeah. So the Wire happened. I was in a play, and one of the producers, after the play was over, approached me and asked me would I be interested in appearing in the show. And so I didn't know nothing about the show. I was focused on re-entry, right? And so I went down there, auditioned, got me a little short part. I made like 3 appearances on there. I think they only showed 2 and then cut them up. But I also saw that the show was about drug dealers And I come from DC, and this was a Baltimore show, and I knew a lot of people in DC that can appear on this. So I talked to the casting crew, directors, and I started doing some casting for the show where I ended up putting like 280 people on that very show.
All right, wonderful, phenomenal, man. You experienced so much in your life and just had an ability to overcome, and doing all the things you've been able to do, since then is just a testament to one's ability to be strong and to persevere. Let's talk about your work you've been doing in the community and some of your other accolades as well. Lamont Carey Enterprises LLC and your nonprofit Contact Visit. Tell us about those.
So Contact Visit came first. Contact Visits came like right before I got released from USP Allenwood in Pennsylvania. I was trying to figure out how I was going to make it in the streets because I knew I was Black. I knew I had violent felony convictions, and I thought there wouldn't be like no opportunities for me. And then I seen in this magazine, they had these firemen in the calendar. And I looked around the compound and I'm like, man, I know some dudes that body is ripped up because they been working out for the last 30 years. And so I decided to make an inmate calendar. And so I went around to all the different gangs and all that because I wanted multiracial calendar and made them a proposition that they couldn't refuse. But when I got home, I accidentally ended up in a business center, and they was telling me, why don't you expand your idea and address some of the issues that you had when you came home? Like nobody wanted me to come and live with them because later on I learned they was worried about the FBI running into their house. So I created Contact Visits to work with returning citizens on making a smoother transition. And so I did programming inside of prisons, inside of communities, from everything from financial literacy to changing your mindset to entrepreneurship and mentoring to kids. So that was Contact Visits. But as Lamont Carey, as I started to grow as an artist, I created Lamont Carey Enterprises so I can manage artists legitimately, so I can manage myself and build a company. So Lamont Carey Enterprises focus was on helping artists fulfill their dreams. And so that's how both of them came about.
You spoke at the LeBron James Family Foundation?
Yes. Well, I spoke at the I Promise School and another place for LeBron James. This was my second time doing it. He had a partnership with the Tater Chip brand just dropped, but the partnership was about owning your ridges, like owning your mistakes and figuring out what makes you special, right? And so they had me come out and speak because of my past. And so this was in, I think, October or January of this year that I spoke at one of his events for the second time.
Wow. Phenomenal. So you're the recipient, and I mentioned it before, you're the recipient of Poet of the Year. What year was that, and how did that feel to get acknowledgement for your work from your peers?
I have no idea how it happened, but how it felt amazing. Because one, remember how I told you I got into poetry. So I never considered myself up until this day as a poet. And so to be recognized as the Poet of the Year was a phenomenal experience. And to be in the art form with so many dynamic artists that like live and breathe poetry and to be elevated as one of them, yeah, man, it was life changing.
All right, so thank you. I'm with Mr. Lamont Carey. I'm Orion Meadows, live from the NAFI headquarters, and we're going to conclude this show, but we're going to come back and we'll continue to talk to Mr. Carey about some of the other things that he's done, because he's done so much work. And I just want to thank you for all that you've done, because you set a wonderful example of what a person who's going through your type of trials and tribulation can actually accomplish. Go through that, come out, and just do all the wonderful things that you've done. You set a wonderful example for a lot of other brothers and sisters to follow. So I just thank you for that. And, you know, I hope you have more success in going down your path.
So can I just add, man, there are thousands of us. There's a returning citizen right now doing his second term as mayor. There's council members that are mayor, right? I mean, that are returning citizens. We are in every walk of life. There's one that I know personally that owns a tech company. So I am not unique in the sense of successful reentry, maybe in my lane, but there are a plethora of us out here that have proven that you could be successful with the felony conviction and after life in prison.
All right, thank you. So, folks, we're concluding the show. We'll come back with the Prison Freedom TV show right here on the PIC TV network. Continue to support us. We're on Roku. We have 60 channels, and definitely support Brother Lamont Carey. You know, go check out his work, man. He got a lot of books out there, and they're very informational, and they're inspirational as well. So support him because he's doing big things. So for the PIC TV network, the Prison Freedom TV show, I'm Orion Meadows, and I'll see you people later.
Hey everyone, this is big. I want everyone to download the PIC TV network on your Roku search bar. My brother David Evans is growing PIC TV fans, and I want us to help my brother blow up PIC TV. Boom! PicTVNetwork.com. Bomb.